Come closer, let me warm you with my body. The American soldier opens his arms. Keiko Nakamura stops breathing. She's 22. Former Army nurse. Hands still stained with iodine from the cave hospital that surrendered 6 days ago. Now she's pressed against a wooden wall in an Okinawa holding facility, and a man twice her size is walking toward her. Why is he smiling? 847 Japanese women captured by June 1945. Only 12% understood English. Mistranslation rate in the first 48 hours, 94%. Keiko doesn't know those numbers. She only knows the propaganda burned into her skull. Amerika jin wa onna o reipu shi hara osaki, ikita mama sutaru. Americans rape women, slice open their bellies, leave them alive to suffer. The soldier's boots crunch on frozen concrete. His breath fogs. He's carrying something gray, wool, blankets. But Keiko's ears are rewriting his words into something else entirely. She heard, "Strip. Come closer. Let me use you." He said, "Share warmth, survival protocol, standard procedure. Corporal Danny Fitzgerald is 24, Wisconsin dairy farmer before Pearl Harbor. He learned body heat sharing in Arctic survival training, 73% reduction in hypothermia deaths when implemented. He doesn't know these women think he's announcing assault. 46 women flatten against the walls. 46 hearts slam against ribs. The translator, Hanako Ota, 31, fluent in English from 2 years at Berkeley, stands frozen. She won't translate. Why won't she speak? Danny drops the blankets. They hit the floor with a soft thump. He reaches toward Keiko's face. Her throat locks. No scream comes. His fingers touch her cheek. Cold, rough, calloused. He pulls back holding a strand of straw. "You've got," he points at his own hair, shows her the yellow fiber. Keiko stares. She's still alive. His hand touched her, and she's still alive. The wool sits untouched on concrete. Steam rises from Danny's breath. Canvas flaps somewhere outside. The women don't move. "Kare wa watashi ni sawata. Watashi wa mada ikite iru. Naze?" He touched me. I'm still alive. Why? Danny looks at the blankets, looks at the women. His face crumbles into confusion. They're just blankets," he whispers. "Nobody moves, nobody breathes." The temperature drops another degree. Then the door opens behind him. A woman walks in, American uniform, medical armband. She's carrying something metal that glints under the single bulb. Keiko's stomach drops. It begins. A stethoscope. That's what's glinting in her hands. But Keiko sees a scalpel. "Karera wa watashitachi o kaibusuru. Ikita mama. Naizo onusumu. They will dissect us. Alive. Steal our organs." Lieutenant Margaret Sullivan is 33. Army nurse. 12 years of medical training. She doesn't know the pamphlets distributed to Japanese soldiers described American doctors as organ harvesters who kept prisoners, conscious during vivisection. 89% of captured women expected surgical torture. Margaret hangs the stethoscope around her neck, approaches slowly. Keiko presses harder against the wall until splinters bite through her uniform. "I need to check your heartbeat." Margaret mimes the motion, taps her own chest. "Heart? Healthy? Yes?" Keiko understands the gesture, not the intention. She expects the nurse to cut her open and count the beats directly. Hanako Ota finally speaks. Her voice cracks like thin ice. She's a doctor. Medical examination, not..." She can't finish. The women don't believe her. Tomoko Hayashi, 19, youngest prisoner in the barracks, starts hyperventilating. Her breath comes in sharp gasps. Frost forms on her lips. Margaret notices. Medical training kicks in. She moves toward Tomoko, too fast. Tomoko screams. The sound shatters the frozen air, bounces off wooden walls. Every woman flinches. Danny stumbles backward, boots slipping on concrete. "Wait, wait!" Margaret raises both hands, shows empty palms. The stethoscope swings from her neck like a pendulum. "Kanojo, nota ni wa nani mo nai. Demo nanika ga okashi." Nothing in her hands. But something is wrong. Harumi Endo, 27, former Tokyo hospital nurse, stares at the stethoscope. Her eyes narrow. Recognition flickers. She's seen this instrument before, used it herself. On Japanese patients, in Japanese hospitals. This isn't a torture device. Harumi pushes off the wall, takes one step forward, then another. The other women watch in horror. Harumi, no! Keiko reaches for her arm. Harumi ignores her, walks directly to Margaret, points at the stethoscope. Shinzo, she says. Heart. Margaret nods slowly. Yes, heart. Check heart. Harumi touches her own chest, then points at the stethoscope, then at Margaret. Check. My heart. The room goes silent. 45 women watch their former nurse offer herself to the American. Margaret places the cold metal disc against Harumi's chest. Harumi flinches at the temperature, not fear, just cold. Thump, thump, thump. Harumi is alive, untouched, whole. Margaret nods. Strong heartbeat. Harumi turns to the others, opens her mouth to explain, but Hanako is crying, not from relief, from something else entirely. Hanako's tears freeze before they reach her jaw. Keiko watches her. Something is wrong. The translator spent 2 years in California. Perfect English, perfect understanding. She should be relieved that the Americans are doctors, not butchers. But she's crying harder now. Why? Hanako wa nanika o kakushite iru. Hanako is hiding something. Margaret finishes examining Harumi. Marks something on her clipboard. Body temperature, 96.1 degrees Celsius. Borderline hypothermic. All 47 women will need immediate warming. The heating system groans overhead. Metal pipes clank. No warmth comes. Danny gathers the untouched blankets. His hands are shaking, not from cold, from confusion. These women look at him like he's already killed them. I'll get more, he mutters. Leaves. The door bangs shut. Canvas flaps. Wind howls through gaps in the wooden walls. Margaret approaches Keiko next. Stethoscope ready. Keiko doesn't run. She watched Harumi survive, but her hands won't stop trembling as the metal touches her chest. Thump, 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 thump. Her heart is racing. Fear rhythm. Margaret notes it, says nothing. One by one, the women submit to examination. Body temperatures range from 95.4 degrees to 97.2 degrees. 3 are in active hypothermia. 7 show signs of malnutrition. 12 have untreated wounds. Hanako translates instructions in a hollow voice. Remove outer clothing for wound inspection. Keep undergarments. The women hesitate. Nugu? Nays? Remove clothing? Why? Medical necessity, Hanako adds quickly. Wound treatment, that's all. Slowly, painfully, they comply. Margaret treats infected cuts with iodine, wraps sprained ankles, checks for broken bones. 87 wounds treated that first night. 0 assaults, 0 violence. But the women don't relax. They can't. Because Hanako is still crying. At midnight, Margaret leaves, promises to return with food and medicine. The door closes. The women huddle in darkness. The blankets remain untouched on the floor. Keiko crawls toward Hanako, sits beside her, waits. Finally, Hanako speaks. My sister, she whispers. Osaka, 1943. Keiko's blood freezes, not from cold. Soldiers came to our house, Japanese soldiers, our own men. Watashitachi Jishin no Heitai, our own soldiers. They took her. She was 15. Keiko can't breathe. When I heard the Americans say, warm you with my body, I heard them, the soldiers, the ones who took Rin. The truth crashes through Keiko's chest. Hanako wasn't afraid of Americans. She was reliving what Japan's own army did. The barracks fall silent. Wind screams through wooden walls. Then someone knocks on the door. The knock comes again, slow, deliberate. Keiko's throat tightens. The women flatten against walls. The door opens. A woman enters, American, different uniform. Red Cross armband bright against olive drab. She's carrying a tray. Steam rises from metal cups. Oyu, ocha, hot water, tea. Lieutenant Clara Jennings is 29, Ohio schoolteacher before the war. Volunteered for Pacific Medical Corps after her brother died at Midway. She's memorized 3 Japanese phrases. Ocha desu, she says carefully. Tea. The pronunciation is terrible. The meaning is clear. She sets the tray on the floor, steps back, waits. Nobody moves. Steam curls upward. The smell of green tea fills the frozen air. Tomoko, the youngest, breaks first. Her throat is raw from screaming earlier. She crawls toward the tray, wraps shaking hands around a cup. Drinks, atsui, oishi, honto no ocha, hot, delicious, real tea. Clara watches, doesn't smile, just nods. One by one the women approach. 47 cups, distributed. 47 throats warmed. The simple act of drinking something hot, something familiar, cracks the ice. Keiko sips. The warmth spreads through her chest. For one moment, she forgets where she is. Clara sits on the floor, cross-legged, non-threatening. She produces a photograph from her pocket, shows it to the nearest woman. A young man in Navy uniform. Her brother? The one who died. Shinda? Dead? Midway, Clara says, points at the photo, points at her heart, wipes her eye. The women understand death, grief, loss. Harumi reaches into her own uniform pocket, produces a photograph. A young man in Japanese Navy uniform, her husband, killed at Leyte Gulf, 2 enemies, 2 widows, same grief. Clara looks at the photo, looks at Harumi, nods slowly. Something shifts in the barracks. The air feels different. Kanojo mo ushinata, watashi tachi to onaji. She lost someone too, like us. Hanako wipes her frozen tears, clears her throat. She says her brother died. At Midway, she doesn't hate us. She just wants to help. The blankets no longer look like traps. Keiko picks one up. Gray wool, rough, warm. She wraps it around her shoulders. The fabric scratches her neck. She doesn't care. Tomoko takes another. Then Harumi. Then Hanako. By midnight, 47 women are wrapped in American wool. Clara stands, bows. Awkward, Western, but sincere. The women bow back. She leaves. The door closes. Temperature drops to 26 degrees, and the blankets aren't enough. Keiko wakes to teeth chattering. Not hers, Tomoko's. The 19-year-old is shaking violently. Lips blue, eyes glazed, classic hypothermia signs. The blanket isn't enough. Temperature in the barracks, 26 degrees Fahrenheit. Heating system failed 3 hours ago. Metal pipes froze solid. Tomoko ga shinda shimau. Tomoko is going to die. Keiko crawls to her, wraps her own blanket around the girl. 2 layers of wool. Still not enough. Body heat. They need body heat. The propaganda echoes, let me warm you with my body. But this time, Keiko understands. This time, she knows what it means. She presses her body against Tomoko's back, wraps arms around her, shares warmth. Harumi sees. Does the same with another shivering woman, then Hanako, then others. 47 women forming clusters of shared heat. Gray wool cocooning trembling bodies. Survival instinct overriding fear. The door bursts open. Margaret Sullivan stands in the doorway. Behind her, Clara Jennings and another nurse, Patricia Webb, 31, from Oregon. Heating's out across the camp, Margaret announces. We're staying. Karera ga Tomaru? They're staying? Clara kneels beside Tomoko and Keiko, doesn't push them apart, just adds another blanket on top, then lies down on Tomoko's other side. American body heat, Japanese body heat, same warmth. Patricia moves to another cluster, Margaret to another. 3 American women spreading themselves across the barracks, sharing heat with the enemy. Hypothermia deaths in 1st Pacific winter camps before body heat protocols, 47. After same-gender sharing implementation, 3 total. Margaret's body temperature drops to 95.8 degree points by dawn. She keeps giving warmth anyway. Keiko feels Clara breathing behind Tomoko, slow, steady. The American's back presses against the Japanese girl's spine. No assault, no violence, just survival. Kore ga honto no America Jin? This is the real Americans? At 4 a.m., Tomoko stops shaking. Color returns to her lips. She opens her eyes, sees Clara lying beside her, doesn't scream. Instead, she whispers something. Arigato. Clara doesn't understand the word, but she understands the tone. You're welcome, she whispers back. Dawn breaks gray and frozen. The heating system coughs back to life. Warm air rattles through broken pipes. Margaret sits up, checks pulses. All 47 women alive. She writes in her medical log, full night body heat protocol, 0 casualties, 0 incidents. Keiko watches her write, watches the Americans gather their things, watches Clara pause at the door. Breakfast in 1 hour, Clara says, points at her stomach. Food. Then she adds something unexpected. Chocolate. Keiko has never tasted American chocolate. The brown square sits in her palm, Hershey's. Foreign letters, sweet smell rising through the frozen air. She thinks it might be poison. Doku kamoshirenai. Demo, nazi, might be poison. But why? Chocolate rations to POWs. 2 bars per week per prisoner. Japanese military rations for their own soldiers. 0 chocolate, 0 fruit, 0 fresh vegetables. Keiko ate better as a prisoner than she ever did as a nurse. She bites. Sweetness floods her mouth. Her tongue doesn't remember pleasure. It's been so long. Tears spring to her eyes. Harumi laughs. Actually laughs. The sound startles everyone. It's good, Harumi says. It's really good. Tomoko devours hers in 3 bites, then looks embarrassed. Clara produces another bar from her pocket, hands it over. Motto Aru? There's more? Breakfast arrives on metal trays, powdered eggs, canned beans, white bread with butter, coffee with sugar. The women stare. Hanako translates the nutritional information posted on the wall. 3,200 calories per day for prisoners. Medical supplements as needed. Fresh water unlimited. Japanese Army standard rations for combat nurses. 1 to 800 calories, often less, usually rotten. Watashi tachi wa teki yori yoku taberarete iru. We're eating better than we ever did as allies. The irony burns. Keiko swallows bread and shame together. Danny Fitzgerald appears in the doorway, different now, hesitant. He's carrying something. Not blankets this time, clothes, clean uniforms, wool socks. Medical cleared these, he says. Doesn't enter, just sets them inside the door. Clara distributes them. American military surplus, too big for Japanese frames, but warm, clean, uninfested. Keiko sheds her lice-ridden Japanese uniform, pulls on American wool. The fabric doesn't scratch. It embraces. She catches Danny watching from the doorway, not with hunger, with something else. Sadness. Kanojo wanaze kanashisu nano. Why does he look sad? My sister, Danny says suddenly. She was a nurse, baton. Baton. The death march. American prisoners tortured by Japanese soldiers. Oh. She didn't make it. Keiko's stomach drops. The chocolate turns to ash in her mouth. This man, whose sister died at Japanese hands, is bringing her clean clothes, feeding her, keeping her warm. She doesn't understand. Neis watashi tachi o taskerun desuka. Why are you helping us? Danny seems to read her confusion. He shrugs. Because someone has to break the cycle. He leaves. Keiko stares at the empty doorway, then looks down at her American uniform. Something is happening inside her chest. Something terrifying, breaking the cycle. Keiko turns the phrase over in her mind. Choose it like the chocolate. What does it mean to break a cycle of hatred while standing inside it? The days blur. Medical examinations become routine. Blankets become comfort instead of fear. The Americans bring newspapers, playing cards, writing materials. Hanako translates letters home. Watashi wa buji desu. Osorenai de kudasai. America jin wa watashi tachi o tasuketemasu. I am safe. Don't be afraid. The Americans are helping us. 73 letters sent in the first month. 61 reached Japanese families. 12 families write back, "We thought you were dead." Tomoko receives one, her mother's handwriting. She reads it 17 times. Clara sits with her, doesn't understand the words, understands the tears. "Family?" Clara asks. Tomoko nods, shows her the photograph tucked inside. Her father, killed at Iwo Jima. "Chichi wa America jin ni korosareta. Demo America jinga watashi o sakute iru." Father killed by Americans, but Americans are saving me. The contradiction should destroy her. Instead, she sets the photograph on her cot, stares at it. "He would want me to live," she whispers. Keiko hears, remembers her own father, merchant marine, ship torpedoed by American submarine, 1943. "Watashi no chichimo America jin ni korosareta." My father was also killed by Americans. She's wearing their uniform now, eating their food, sleeping under their blankets. The betrayal should burn, but it doesn't. Because Margaret checked her wounds. Clara shared her tea. Danny brought clothes despite his dead sister. Karera wa fukushu shimasen deshita. They didn't take revenge. 2 weeks in. The camp commander visits. Colonel Robert Hayes, 52, career military, 2 sons fighting in Europe. He stands in the doorway, doesn't enter, just speaks. "Ladies, you'll be transferred to a permanent facility next month. Better housing. School programs if you want them. Work assignments are voluntary." Hanako translates. The women listen in silence. "Gakko? Shigoto? Sentaku? School? Work? Choice? Any questions?" Keiko raises her hand. The first Japanese woman to address the American commander directly. "Why?" Hayes blinks. "Why what? Why are you kind to us?" The question hangs in frozen air. Hayes considers it. "Because cruelty is easy. Kindness takes strength." He leaves. Keiko looks at the gray blanket folded on her cot. The first clean thing she touched in months. The first warmth she trusted. She picks it up, holds it against her chest. "Kore o zutto motte iu." I'm going to keep this forever. Outside, snow begins to fall. The truck rattles over broken roads. Keiko grips her blanket. Permanent facility. The words should comfort her. Instead, her stomach churns. "Adarashi shisetsu wa do chigao no?" How will the new facility be different? 47 women packed into canvas-covered trucks. 3 American nurses ride with them, Margaret, Clara, Patricia. They've refused reassignment. "We finish what we start," Margaret says. The drive takes 4 hours. Keiko counts checkpoints. 5. Armed guards at each one. But the guards wave them through. No searches, no violence. At checkpoint 3, an American soldier hands chocolate bars through the canvas flap. 1 per woman. Tomoko takes 2, hides 1 in her pocket. "For later," she whispers. "For later." As if there will be a later. As if survival is no longer a question. The permanent facility rises from mud and rain, Quonset huts, wooden walkways, a medical building with actual windows. Keiko steps off the truck. Her boots sink into wet earth. The air smells like diesel and fresh lumber. "Kor wa yoi?" This is good? Colonel Hayes meets them at the entrance, hands each woman a canvas bag. Inside, toiletries, underwear, socks, a comb, writing paper, a pen. "Welcome to Camp Mercy," he says. The name hits, strangely. Mercy, American word for kindness you don't deserve. Awaremi, Moraenai Shinsetsu. Mercy, unearned kindness. Barracks assignments, 8 women per hut. Real beds, mattresses, pillows. Keiko sits on her assigned bed. Springs creak. The mattress is thin but clean. The pillow smells like soap. She presses her face into it, breathes, then cries, "Naze naita iru no? Koko wa anzen nanoni." Why am I crying? This place is safe. Because safety feels dangerous. Because kindness feels like a trap. Because her body learned fear and hasn't unlearned it yet. Harumi sits beside her, says nothing, just holds her hand. 2 weeks later, they offer English classes. Voluntary. 17 women sign up. Keiko is first. Eigo o manabitai. Karera ga nani o itteru ka shitai. I want to learn English. I want to know what they're saying. Clara teaches, alphabet first, then basic words. Hello, thank you, please, help. Keiko practices after lights out, whispers vocabulary into her pillow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The words feel foreign in her mouth, but less foreign than they did a month ago. Outside her window, the American flag snaps in Pacific wind. She used to hate that flag. Now she's not sure what she feels, only that something has changed. Keiko stares at the blank paper. Her pen hovers. Haha, nante kaku. Mother. What should I write? The truth. Americans feed me better than Japan ever did. The truth. They share blankets and body heat to keep us alive. The truth. I'm learning English from a woman whose brother we killed. Some truths are too heavy for paper. She writes, I am safe. I am fed. I am learning new things. Please don't worry. The war feels far away here. The letter takes 3 weeks to reach Nagasaki. Her mother reads it 64 times before responding. Keiko, you are my ghost come back to life. We held your funeral in August. The shrine still has your photograph. I will remove it today. Karera wa watashi no soshiki oshita. They held my funeral. Keiko reads the response in the mess hall. Powdered eggs cool on her tray. Tears blur the characters. Clara notices, sits beside her, doesn't speak, just waits. My mother, Keiko finally says. Testing her English. She think I dead, Clara nods. Many families did. She, funeral, for me. But you're alive. Keiko looks up, meets American eyes, brown, warm, patient. Why you care? The question isn't hostile anymore, it's genuine. Clara considers, my brother died hating. I don't want to die the same way. Nikushimi no Naka Deshinda died hating. 3 months into captivity, if it can still be called that. Work assignments begin. Keiko volunteers for the medical ward. Former nurse, useful skills. She treats American soldiers, wounded in battle, some against Japanese forces. Kono hito wa watashi no doho o koroshita kamo shiranai. This man might have killed my countrymen. She changes his bandages anyway. Danny Fitzgerald appears one morning, not on duty, just visiting. You're good at this, he says, watches her rewrap an infected wound. I was nurse, before. I know, I read your file. Feru? File? Geneva Convention requires records, medical history, skills, family contacts. She pauses. You know, everything? Enough. Silence stretches. Bandages tighten. My sister, Danny continues, she would have liked you. She liked people who helped others. Keiko's throat burns. The soldier whose sister died at Bataan is calling her helpful. I'm sorry about your sister, Danny shrugs. I'm sorry about your father. How does he know about her father? Fairu, the file, 2 enemies, 2 griefs, same human core. Danny leaves. Keiko finishes her shift. That night she holds the gray blanket and feels something crack open inside. December 1946, Tokyo. Snow falls on a city still learning to breathe. Keiko pushes a wheelchair through hospital corridors. American military hospital, Japanese staff, former enemies working side by side. The patient is 19, Private Thomas Wheeler, Danny's brother, paralyzed from the waist down, shrapnel in his spine. Iwo Jima. Danny no Ototo, Danny's brother. Danny died 6 months ago. Jeep accident in Okinawa. Never saw Japan surrender. Never saw his brother again. Keiko learned English well enough to read the telegram, well enough to cry in a language she used to fear. She pushes Thomas to the window. Mount Fuji glows pink in winter sunset. Danny talked about you, Thomas says, in his letters. Tegami no naka de watashi no koto o hanashita talked about me in letters. He said you were the first prisoner who wasn't afraid of him. Keiko smiles. I was terrified. He couldn't tell. She parks the wheelchair, sits beside him. Outside, Cherry trees stand bare. By April, they'll bloom. He gave me chocolate, she says. First American food I ever tasted. Thomas laughs, then winces, pain in his spine. Sounds like Danny, always feeding strays. Noraneko ni esa o yaru, feeding strays. She was a stray, starving, frozen, convinced of her own death. Danny saw a person instead. Keiko reaches into her bag, produces a folded gray square, the blanket, worn now, edges frayed, color faded. He dropped this at my feet, first night. I thought it was a trap. Thomas stares. You kept it? 40 years from now, when I'm old, I'll still have it. Yonjunen gomomota irudaru, 40 years from now. She doesn't know this yet. In 1987, she'll donate it to the Tokyo War Memorial. Glass case. Brass label. When Warmth Defeated Fear. Okinawa, 1945. She doesn't know she'll outlive everyone from those barracks. She only knows this. The blanket was the first proof she was treated as human. Not an enemy, not a uniform, a human. Thomas reaches out, touches the worn fabric. It's just wool. No. Keiko folds it carefully. It's what breaks the cycle. Snow falls harder. The hospital lights flicker. Somewhere a patient calls for help. Keiko stands, tucks the blanket under her arm, returns to work. Former prisoner, current healer, future witness. Let me warm you with my body. 6 words nearly destroyed her. But what came after, the blanket she kept, the language she learned, the hands she used to heal, built something no propaganda could ever touch. Proof.